general public into believing that they won the election. Further to this, the NDC tried every possible means to destroy pink sheets, which are the primary records of the elections. It will be recalled that on Sunday, 8 December 2024, NDC tax stormed Abuakwa North constituency collation center, overpowered the police, and ran amok, attempting to destroy every electoral material on site. In view of the vandalism that occurred at the collation center by the NDC hoodlums, the EC was unable to continue with the collation exercise at the constituency collation center. Consequently, the EC invited the parties to the EC Regional Collation Center at Rich on Monday, 9th December 2024 to complete the collation. A total of 214 polling station results were collated after verification and authentication by all the parties, leaving 67 pink sheets which were to be collated on Tuesday, 10th December 2024. However, when the parties got to the Regional Collation Center on Tuesday, the NDC representatives, in shocking turn of events, said they wouldn't allow the EC to collate the remaining 67 polling station results, insisting that they could not find their pink sheets. They then ordered the constituency returning officer, Mr. Vincent Obing, to declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary elections. How? The returning officer told them that he had not finished with the collation, so he had no means of ascertaining who won the election and by what margin. By what margin has she won? The returning officer pleaded with them to cooperate with him to collect the remaining 67 pink sheets before making any declaration as required by Regulation 43 of CI 127, a position that was strongly supported by the MPP's parliamentary candidate and her agents. The NDC would, however, have none of that, as they insisted that their candidate, Araba Obin, had won and should be declared as such. This resulted in a misunderstanding, whereupon the NDC reps invited their party tax, who had massed up at the EC Regional Collation Center, to force their way into the collation center, having overpowered the security and destroyed facilities belonging to the commission, the Electoral Commission, I mean. As widely captured in videos that are in circulation, the NDC tax threatened to beat the returning officer and kill him if he failed to declare their candidate as the winner. Fearing for his life, Mr. Vincent Obing, the returning officer, gave in to their demands, except that because he had not finished with the collation, he could not and did not mention any figure or percentages obtained by the candidate. Can we see the video?
You have the video.
There's a glitch here. Okay, let me continue. We'll show you the videos. The returning officer, in response to this is the time. Okay, this is the video.
The returning officer, Sam George.
The returning officer being attacked and whisked to declare. Is there any voice?
I think the visuals are fine. They can see what's happening.
Okay. All right, thank you. The returning officer, in response to what the NDC hoodlums had ordered him to do amid the threat of his life, only said, "I declare you as a winner," without even mentioning the name of the candidate nor the number of votes obtained by any of the candidates as required by law. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet form 1D could not be filled as required by regulation 43 1B of CI 127. Additionally, the returning officer could not issue out the rate form 1B as required by regulation 43 1G. I pose this question, that if your hand is raised that you have won an election and you go to the house, what are you going to show to your wife or your husband that you have won an election? There must be a documentary proof. So if your hand is only raised that you have won an election and you go home, what are you going to tell your wife or your husband? Or what are you going to show him or her that you have won an election? The processes are documented in regulation 43 of the CI. So if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. So that's for Madam Okaikwei and Abuakwa North. 2, we move on to Tema Central constituency. Data on the face of the pink sheets from all the 148 polling stations in Tema Central shows clearly that the MPP parliamentary candidates, Charles Forson, won the parliamentary elections for the constituency with 55 votes difference. He obtained 18,870 votes to beat the NDC's candidate Ebi Bright, who polled 18,815. When the NDC realized that they had lost, they sent their party thugs to disrupt the collation exercise. These thugs overpowered the security and ran amok at the collation center, injuring innocent people in the process. This compelled the Tema Metro EC Director, Mr. Ofosuhene A. Manasseh, to call for a suspension of the collation in view of the prevailing chaos and other security concerns. Collation resumed on Monday, 9th December, at the Tema Regional Police Command, which was again disrupted by the NDC thugs who stormed the collation center in their hundreds and overpowered the police. The thugs took charge of the collation process and ordered the EC to declare their parliamentary candidate, Ebi Bright, as the winner of the elections when it was left with 2 pink sheets to complete the collation process. The NDC knew very well that when the results of the 2 remaining polling stations are added to what had been collated for the candidates, the MPP parliamentary candidate, Charles Forson, will beat their candidate by 55 votes. The polling station codes of the 2 outstanding stations and votes obtained by the 2 candidates are code C231309B, MPP 170 votes, NDC 103 votes. The second polling station outstanding is C231707, and here MPP got 279 votes and NDC 173. When the returning officer for the constituency resisted their attempt to compel him to declare the NDC candidate as the winner of the elections, the NDC brought in a staff of the Electoral Commission from a different constituency, Tema West, to do the declaration for the Tema Central constituency without the inclusion of the 2 remaining pink sheets. Here too, the form 1B, 1C, and 1D were all not filled by the officer as required by the law. They used an A4 sheet to fill the statutory form. Show the video. You have the video of the A4 sheet? All right. So that is what happened at Tema Central. We now move on to Okaikwei Central constituency. The NPP candidate and incumbent MP for Okaikwei Central constituency, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, won the parliamentary elections with a vote margin of 1,446 votes difference. The MPP candidate, Honorable Patrick Yabuama, obtained 20,229 votes as against NDC's Baba Sadiq, who polled 18,783 votes, with only 3 polling stations remaining. The records show that even when all the votes in the 3 polling stations are added to the NDC's candidate, it will not offset the vote difference. This is important. Even when all the 3 outstanding polling stations are added on to the NDC candidate, it would not offset the vote difference. At this moment, the collation process was disrupted by the NDC thugs, who stormed the collation center and sought to destroy critical electoral materials, including pink sheets essential for verifying the results. They took control of the collation process and threatened the EC's officials to declare their candidate as winner, resulting in chaotic scenes which led to suspension of the constituency collation. The parties were invited to the EC Regional Collation Center on Monday, 9 December 2024 to complete the collation process. The NDC insisted that they would not accept the continuation of the collation and demanded that the EC should declare their candidate as winner of the parliamentary election. Under visible duress, the returning officer excluded the results from 31 polling stations and declared the results based on only 110 polling stations. This action is inconsistent with the electoral laws, as it excludes legitimate votes cast by constituents and fails to reflect the true outcome of the elections in Okaikwei Central. The NDC's disagreement was based on alleged issue with certain polling stations. The attacks stormed the Electoral EC Collation Center and coerced the returning officer to declare. And here too, we have video footages to corroborate these incidents of vandalism and physical abuse of the electoral staff. I don't think you can show the footage.
This one is Abuakwa North. We will share with them. We share the media. Let's go to the
All right, so let's go to the 4th one, Atwima constituency. We will share these videos with you. During the collation at Atwima constituency collation center, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center, destroyed electoral materials on site, bent ballot boxes, thereby truncating the collation process. The returning officer informed parties to leave the collation center on account of the security challenges, which made it impossible to continue with the collation. The returning officer assured the candidates and their agents that she would communicate a new venue for the continuation of the collation. We are, however, hearing that there was a purported declaration of results under duress, and that too in our absence, contrary to requirements of Regulation 43 of CI 127. Equally, the parliamentary results collation sheet Form 1C and parliamentary results summary sheet Form 1D was not filled as required by Regulation 43 1B 1 and B of CI 127, and the rate of declaration Form 1B was also not issued as required by Regulation 43 1 and G. The MPP candidate or his agent has still not been informed of the new venue for the continuation of the collation, contrary to the assurances given by the returning officer during the raid by the NDC tax. Well, we can report that based on our own collation, the MPP parliamentary candidate, Ambassador Michael Okaikwei Jr., won the parliamentary elections in Atwima and are confident that when EC resumes collation, our position will be vindicated. 5. Abuakwa North constituency in Ashanti region. The MPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Ajimai Prempe, won the parliamentary elections with a margin of 121 votes as per data collated from all the 140 polling stations by the party. The MPP's candidate, Nana Atwima Nwabiagya, has hard copies of all the 140 pink sheets that put him at 20,353 votes, as against NDC's candidate at 20,232. I believe we all have witnessed what we call MP3 in Tema East some time back. So if somebody wins with a difference of 121, he has won. After all, the law says first past the post. During the collation by the EC at the constituency collation center, NDC tax stormed the collation center at Tepa SHS and began destroying and burning electoral materials, particularly pink sheets, computers, and ballot papers, as well as properties of the Tepa SHS, including louver blades, benches, and tables. They also manhandled MPP representatives and EC officials. These violent conducts by the NDC tax, who had overpowered the police, prompted the intervention of the military to save lives and property. The NDC hoodlums did not only attack the collation center, but they also proceeded to launch an attack at the residence of the MPP parliamentary candidate, Honorable Eric Nana Atwima Nwabiagya, bent his vehicle and attacked his warehouse, stole his items, and attacked his radio station. There are video footages in wide circulations that captured all these attacks. These issues have since been reported to the Ghana police, and an arrest warrant has been issued. The videos are there, and we will give you copies of it. The question many will ask is, since when has it become an offense to contest a parliamentary elections in this country? Why is the NDC bent on thwarting all our democratic gains? Ghana has made a lot of gains. Instead of consolidating it, they are thwarting it. They are throwing it away. Let's go to the sixth one, Asuasi East. That's also in Ashanti. After collecting the polling stations results from all the 115 polling stations, the MPP parliamentary candidate obtained 18,558 votes, as against NDC's 18,539. Strangely, the returning officer, the police, and the MPP candidate, at the threat of their life, succumbed to the unlawful demands of the NDC hoodlums, who had besieged the collation center and took charge of the constituency collation process to swap the election results. And we have that. Is that ready to show them? They swapped the results that I have mentioned and then announced that, okay, they gave them APP's candidates to that of the NDC, the Abuakwa East, and they just canceled. They canceled the first one, which we have the data and reverse and I mean, what is this? They swapped the results in favor of the NDC candidate.
And locked the candidate and asked him to sign or he died. Or he prefers dying or going to parliament. So he should sign.
Number 7, Abuakwa Southwest, also in Ashanti. Results from all the 103 polling stations indicate that the MPP's candidate, Elvis Osei-Mensah obtained 16,058 votes, as against NDC's candidate, who polled 15,372 votes. As usual, the NDC hoodlums attacked the collation center and in the process killed one of our supporters. We have all our pink sheets intact, and that show clearly that the MPP parliamentary candidate won the parliamentary elections by 686 votes margin. 686 votes margin. The EC invited the parties to its regional collation center on Monday, 9 December 2024 at 10 a.m. The EC collected all the results from all the 103 polling stations, filled the Form 1C as well as the Form 1D, but due to threat on his life, he opted not to declare the final results. So this is the situation at Abuakwa Southwest. Now we go to Bono East, number 8, Techiman South constituency. Collation from 279 out of a total of 282 polling stations indicate clear that Honorable Martin Kwaku Agyei-Mensah Kosa, the MPP parliamentary candidate, obtained 46,468 votes as against NDC's Christopher Bayari, who polled for the 3,365 votes. Two other candidates in the parliamentary elections obtained 225 votes. The constituency collation was disrupted by NDC elements and has since not resumed. All right. The next one is Eastern Region and Sawam Adwaji. Data from all the 202 polling stations show that the incumbent MP, Honorable Anodompre, has won the parliamentary elections. The EC's collation at the Constituency Collation Center was disrupted by the NDC. The EC's arrangement to continue with the collation at the regional level in Koforidua was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school at Tesano based on security considerations. Leader will want to add something because he was present.
Friends from the media, I want to explain something that happened at Tesano. Honorable Obiamwa and my good self were there as representatives from the party's headquarters. On that day, that was a Thursday, last week Thursday, we had 4 constituencies: Abuakwa North, Akotia, Suhum, and Nsawam Adwejiri. The first collation to be completed for the day was Abuakwa North. When we got that done, we came to Akotia, which we also successfully completed, and it was declared. Then it was left with Nsawam Adwejiri and Suhum. Both were being done. Now, for Suhum, there was another go slow. The NDC at every stage tried to disrupt. Eventually, they rejected 6 polling station results, and we accepted that if they've rejected, they don't want it to be part, that is fine, because it was still giving us a win of over 1,500. Then they tried to use the independent candidate agent to frustrate the process. In fact, eventually, the NDC leaders who came there, led by the famous Alfred Woyome, told me and Honorable Obiamwa that they want to negotiate for us to allow the declaration of Suhum, and that their foot soldiers were amassing outside, and that if all 4 constituencies are declared for us, they will kill them. Very sad. Eventually, when we said no, we have to continue with the process, and we completed the Suhum process where Suhum was declared, they tried another go slow on Nsawam Adwejiri. Each one of them that came said, "Oh, you say I'm not on pre winning. I am farmer." Where does this happen? Eventually, when the EC official decided to continue the process, the NDC, led by Alfred Woyome, came into the collation center and said that okay, their computer was not working, so we should give them 2 hours to charge their battery. As at 1 a.m., when they had gotten 3 hours to charge the so-called battery of the laptop, they said they were tired. Meanwhile, their candidate walked in. The candidate for Nsawam Adwejiri walked in. And we said, okay, if you are tired, the candidate himself was there. Meanwhile, Honorable Anodompre had been there the whole day. What next? The EC official, after another 1 hour of unnecessary disruption, he said he was tired, he was feeling sleepy, and that we should do it at 6 a.m. the following day, Friday. We all slept there. Well, by the way, I left around 4 a.m. to shower, and I came back around 7 o'clock. Around this time, the General Secretary was also there, but the candidate Honorable Anodompre and his agent slept there. At 6:30 thereabout, collation resumed. Around 8 o'clock, they started the agenda again. Will not allow. Then around 8:30, their counsel came in, Honorable Mr. Eduji Tamaklu, claiming that he had in his possession an injunction order from the court, only to find out later that they will use a delay tactics to file an application. They had filed a writ in court, that is the candidate for NDC had filed a writ in court with an injunction application, which they were seeking to serve the Honorable Anodompre and EC. So clearly, these are not Democrats. Whereas Dr. Bawumia conceded defeat even before EC's official announcement, they were not ready to accept defeat in these constituencies that day. They were not ready to concede defeat where they knew clearly, because their posture was that they won't allow the process to continue. And then in fact on Friday itself, after they have successfully gotten the Anodompre constituency collation disrupted, then they came to the others. The police had arranged collation tables for the other constituencies. In fact, Techiman South has started. They were collating. Abuakwa North Southwest, we had their table. We had Asuasi East, and all the Ashanti region seats were supposed to be collated. And then the following day, Saturday, was for Greater Accra. They deliberately disrupted and then used social media to threaten the police, whereupon the police felt that they could not provide security, in spite of EC's insistence to continue the work. In fact, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that actually instructed the EC to stop the collation process. Yes. I repeat, on Friday afternoon, it was the police that instructed EC to stop the process of collating the results because it was not sure of its ability to provide security. And you recall that was when the deputy communication officer, I don't want to mispronounce his name, had issued threat, had commanded 5,000 people to meet at the police training school. It's all on social media. So our appeal to the international community, civil society organizations, the media, and all lovers of democracy is to show interest in these outstanding constituencies and give the EC every moral support to proceed to make these declarations. Again, we are encouraging the Electoral Commission that, pursuant to their own statement they issued and their press conference on the evening of Friday, to proceed to collect and declare these results. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I continue from here. Our win constituency in Western North region. Records from 181 polling stations indicate that the vote difference between our candidates, Abanga Yakubu, and the NDC candidate is 103 votes in favor of the NDC candidate. However, we have learnt of some major infractions at some polling stations which the party is still investigating. Other outstanding constituencies. Collation processes in Suhum, Abuakwa North, and Akwatia constituencies were botched because of some security challenges occasioned by the NDC supporters and hoodlums besieging the respective constituency collation centers. The EC's arrangement to continue with the collation at the regional level was also disrupted by the hoodlums, compelling the EC to relocate the collation to the police training school at Tesano based on security considerations, just as Leader has just mentioned. Subsequently, these collations have since been completed under a serene environment and the results declared. True to our case, all the results were declared in favor of the MPP parliamentary candidates. The point must be made that this is not the first time in the history of this country's election that we have been confronted with an issue where there has been a continuation of a disrupted constituency collation or recollation. I think this point is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It will be recalled that in the year 2004, the parliamentary results in Pru constituency was initially declared for the MPP candidate, King David Amoah. However, upon recollation of the results based on the pink sheet provided by the NDC candidate and his agents, the EC, under the then chairman, Dr. Kojo Afarijan, reversed the results and declared the NDC candidate as the winner. So it has happened before in the electoral history of this country. The point must also be made that the position of the law is that once a proper and regular declaration has been done by the EC, the only remedy available to an aggrieved party, apart from resorting to alternative disputes resolution, ADR, pursuant to Court Act and ADR Act, is to go to the High Court for redress under Article 99(1) of the 1992 Constitution. However, with the seats that the MPP is contesting, no declaration, properly so called, was done. So the declaration has not been done. Why do you, who can ask us to go to court? No, it's for the EC to recollate as it did in the year 2004 under Dr. Afarijan at Pru constituency in the now Bono East region.
In fact, EC says that there hasn't been any.
But the EC itself has issued a statement, a press conference, that there's no declaration. How does the NDC expect the EC to gazette election results that have not been fully collated and declared? It is pretty obvious that the NDC leadership and their supporters who stormed the collation centers to compel the EC under the threat of death to declare their candidates as winners have labored in vain, because we are a country of rule of law, not rule of men. EC's response: it is not surprising that at a press conference held on Friday, 13 December, the Electoral Commission, through its deputy chair, Mr. Samuel Tete, stated emphatically that there was no declaration of the Abuakwa North, Domekwa Tema Central, Okaikwei North, Ahafo North, Ahafo Southwest, Asuasi East, Techiman South, and Nsawam Adwajiri constituency parliamentary results, because the collation was incomplete. Indeed, the Commission has maintained that all purported declaration of parliamentary results made under duress, as was seen in those constituencies, are not in conformity with laid down processes enshrined in CI 127, hence illegal and will not be upheld. It will not be upheld by the EC. Conclusion: it is therefore our expectation that the EC would immediately resume the collation exercise. We implore the National Election Security Task Force to provide adequate security to facilitate peaceful collation under a serene environment. We are also calling on the NDC leadership to rein in on their supporters. We are very certain that our parliamentary candidates in the above mentioned constituencies won the elections based on verifiable data from the pink sheets, as we have demonstrated. We urge the EC and all stakeholders to, in the interest of democracy and peace of our dear country, take immediate steps to give effect to the will of the voters in these constituencies as expressed in the December polls. I thank you all. Where is the MC?
All right, so you may proceed with questions.
Yeah, era Chairman Magmeno Ekanye Ninano Obon Tofa a baby we say, yea, I award the new patriotic party, and then adequate and more and central for no issue. The tente and in the tete and they say your constituencies be ha MPP based on your collation and near Dinkunim Ewoho. And after so pin sheeter your by electoral commission. Edema political parties no yakikani nya bom no near Dinkunim. Offer constituencies ni nyina baby et say Abuakwa North. Oshe vosa MPP nya our Abuakwa North. Aye 34,613. Na NDC candidates esu nya 34,199. HSA ye candidate friend honorable Nana Ekwia Osuafi no Edinkunim with 414 votes. So we Abuakwa North everywhere. Over Tema Central so o share your results are near quality based on pin sheeter electoral commission na the man ya. O who said your candidate a year forcing enya 18,870 and na NDC candidate no enya 18,115. Ufri Abuakwa North now by Okaikwei Central and also yera Patribuama our yemra shebedwani wo ho ono so o collecting the results ni nyina area obo say MPP candidate no nya 20,229 NDC candidate ni nya 18,783 to share vote difference na wo na 1,446 vote difference na ka 3 polling stations and say kan NDC for na amping just all kinds of 3 polling station votes no crabuma still your candidate and Edinkunim ewo ho oba baby to say domain kwabenya also so NDC for no 2 trasem and the basabasa call ho no omantima amboa ma collation na ese koso odomain kwabenya and also so ankoso ewo ho oba baby to say for North constituency o kan ye pin sheeter dey o nyina boma ye candidate eye Nana Eric Nana Prempe enya 20,353 as against NDC candidate we now 20,232 to shema vote difference no 121 vote difference oba be able to say Abuakwa East MPP na Edinkunim wo ho vote MPP candidate na ye 18,558 as against NDC candidate we now 18,539. And no electoral commission will be annual quality results na wie. Na so NDC for macho man for to trust them ho e share electoral commission your candidate say results MPP enya no ye fa MPP dey NDC na fa NDC dey MPP a o mo dey sekani to esi so say obewu na so be call parliament dey na ope and o mo chinchin your candidate nsa o ye no free Afa South West and so your candidate ho Ushe votes are na 16,058 and NDC candidate now 16,000 your candidate now 16,058 and NDC candidate now 15,372 and Ushe vote margin the BTN this now 686 votes and so NDC for 2 transfers are no Omama Electoral Commission and quality results na wie over Techiman South Techiman South so honorable Martin Kokweje Mensa Kosa no Dinkunim or South constituency wo votes are near quality unya 46,468 as against NDC candidate unya 43,365 votes and so said the NDC 4 year to try some Okaikwei Central Abuakwa South West and Abuakwa South Abuakwa North no sa no me call ha Techiman South intimin kan wi in sawan adroje so the same issue and the course so e wo ho and the crowd there said they area frenyo marking my church leader kan no e ko share what tesa no na ka yes electoral commission eto so meetimi kan wi NDC the patapasem to trasem sa massa exercise no am yan kwanko wi na wa ba our win constituency also so electoral commission start to can carry results no Yesha, what to me say figures be high polling station be high, or more than figures no. And then also so your call on electoral commission say or honor results no so as a moment you call as a party so you go so a yeshishim. Now for constituency be to sell to whom Abuakwa North any Akwatia. And nam say na bambo any South constituency one. I must have the call region bambo hono. You do call Tesano police training school hono. Asunde wo honti etimi collation nyina ye wie no ampa se de MPP ye kan ye di nkunim e osuhum Akwatia na Abuakwa North. Ye say baby a ba bedru no ye say electoral commission say aka standing constituency sa yen kan wie ya ese wo hwe eme ye kan. Ye say ye IGP e dampare o hye ye bo say abato e betu na ma asundua abam na no ma ekoso no ne sa ne yehu no say NDC timi de 2 million monsem na police gina ho police ntimi nya hwe na omo ye tutu asem ho ti ye say ne say bambo bi eso de ma electoral commission say be ya electoral commission e betima ye omo adwuma wie no say bambo de fa ma electoral commission no nya say adwuma obeti say NDC for kan on fa mem say say MPP ye say win ye court ye nyam du be ye say court e say electoral commission on quality results in we en gazette ye enu ntibaka so be gina say court ye nyam we collation dey e say ye collation we na ogidie say electoral commission ye collation we a MPP e be din kunim all South constituencies ni enti na frame ene no ye da mu nyina amase.
Okay, thank you very much for coming.
We have questions or
Yes. You have to, you're very in this manner. You have English, 3 questions.